Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have an amazing agent here with us, Roxanne Miller. And the exciting thing about Roxanne, you've just been in real estate. It hasn't even been a year yet. No, when did you
Right,
get
right.
licensed?
I got my license at the end of June in 2022,
Yes,
and I'd say I officially started going July 1st.
July 1st,
Mhm.
2022, and we are recording this end of March 2023. So it's been 9 months. I can't do the math in my head. 8, 9 months. So not very
Correct.
long. And the exciting thing, and one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you, Roxanne, is you've had really, really amazing success. You told me last week in the month of, I don't, maybe there are a few more since then, but since January of 2023 to mid-March, so that's 2.5 months, you took, is it 18 listings?
Yes, so 18 listings. So I have, I believe, six pending, six closed, and then the rest are coming soons. And my goal was 25. I'm still working, towards
25
that
for the
goal.
first quarter, right?
For the first quarter, yes. So I'm still working. I'm running out of days here, but I still have that in mind. And yeah, it's going really well, and I really owe that to your program.
Oh,
I join it well with the time change. I had to change it a little bit. I was joining live, but
mm.
now I'm having to adjust that because it's during prospecting time.
Right. So
So
the live,
yeah,
you mean the live calls that I do with the clients. Roxanne, you said running out of days. No, you have 10 days to
I
go.
have 10 days. Yep,
That's
I do.
plenty of
I'm
time.
going for it.
For a fairly new agent like you don't even have a year in the business to have taken 18 listings in the first 2.5 months. Tell the viewers, because there's so many new agents watching this on my YouTube channel. How do you do it? What exactly are you doing? How do you make this happen?
So I have been very lucky. This is a second career for me.
Mhm.
And I have a sister who is a very successful agent.
Yeah.
And I made the commitment to do everything that she said to do in the work world.
Yeah, in the
So,
work. Yes, very good.
so
So what
when
did she tell you to do? Because obviously it's working. So tell.
so she has me practicing role play. I learn by transcribing, so I write down the objections. I record if I'm not presenting every single day, I record the presentation and I'll send it to her to critique or I'll listen to it to myself. And so, people say, "Oh, as you get more comfortable, you can stop doing that." I don't think so. I think I'm going to have to do this the rest of my career to keep my skills polished. But right now, I'm just developing those skills. So I have to work twice as hard, make twice as many phone calls as other agents, and practice twice as much to be competitive with the top agents. So those are some of the things that I'm doing.
I have to ask you because they're probably wondering here, what exactly are you recording? What is it that you're critiquing?
So I record the actual presentation. I
The
record
listing
what the
presentation or
listing. Yes, sorry, the
oh,
listing presentation that we present to our potential sellers. And
yeah.
then I record the scripts that you've provided us. So I record those scripts and I listen back, which can be very cringy. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I
Mm,
sound like. And then I also write them out. Some of the other things I do, I do exactly what I'm told from Rachel and you. So I started calling FISBOs 5 a day. I haven't cracked the FISBO listings yet. But I work on that and I call 5 a day. I start with expireds and I write down the objections every time they come up. I have it on my daily accountability sheet, and then
mhm.
I look them up in your platform, or I go to my sister and then I'll record her response so that I can practice it, and then I'll go back and write it down. And it's all the same
Yep.
objections, but as a new agent, they come at me differently. So I don't have that down yet, even though it's the same, 10 objections. I'm
Mhm.
just learning how to pivot with each way they're presented to me.
So, you're saying all of this, and you've taken 18 listings in the first 2.5 months of the year. So, even though you're new and you say you're learning, you've had really great results. So, the FISBOs, you're working on it. The listings you've taken are what are they? Expired listings? Who are they?
Right. So I start every morning with expired, the recent expired. So I go through that, check that off, and then I will go to FISBOs. I go
Mm-hmm.
to old expired, so the day before and on. I think I go back a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have probate. So we work probate as well. So I try to at least get 25 calls into probate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through my hot, warm, cold. One thing I think it's really important to know as a new agent is it's really easy I come from, I was a leader in my previous career, but you can't let your ego get in the way. This is all already here for us for the taking. We just have to listen and do what's already available for us to accomplish. And so I see a lot of new agents get caught up on not leaning into the business or the leader. When I make calls, I completely lean into my sister. Oh, you don't know Rachel? You don't know the Rachel Richards group? Sure, you do. You've seen our signs. And so that has been very beneficial for me to build my success for my business. And I think sometimes people let it get, well, I want to build my business and let their ego get in the way when you can actually make more and accomplish more if you lean into whether it's the brokerage or the leader, but that has really helped me um, get listings.
100%. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, when it comes to the actual appointments, you're going on these listing appointments by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
what do you think would be the best advice, Roxanne? Let's say an agent is able to set an appointment. How,
Right.
what is it that you're doing in preparation, in addition to recording and critiquing? What do you do in preparation for those appointments so you have a higher probability of actually getting the listing and getting it signed at a price that it will sell?
So and I think you know Jackie. I mean, I've heard about Jackie Kravitz my whole career, which wasn't real estate. My
From
sister,
Rachel.
Rachel, practiced under you. And when I first joined, the first thing she said is, "You've got to go learn all of your skills from Jackie. Get signed up." And so when I take we're definitely unique, and I don't think a lot of teams are set up like us. We are listed driven and our focus is listings. So we do prospect a lot and we have a team that backs us up. So we have a client coordinator, a closing coordinator, somebody who helps with the negotiation so that Rachel and Tammy and I can stay on the phones to get
Mm-hmm.
more listings. So when I do get a listing, I pass that off to a team member, marketing, and they put the whole packet together for me and I study the comps, but then I listen to your presentation on the way to the appointment. And
Mm-hmm.
so I listen to that. I always arrive at least 15 minutes early and I either if I have enough time I'll drive the comps. I'm
Yeah.
in Phoenix, so we're pretty far from, one side of the town to the other, but I'll try to drive the comps and then I sit down the road, turn on your listing presentation, write down a couple important questions that I think I need to ask them, and then I go in and that's pretty
Wow.
much my routine with the listing presentation.
What is the goal for the team this year, Roxanne?
We have a large goal. We're trying to hit 500 homes.
Woo. Yes.
Yes, and so we have 3 listing agents, and then we do have 4 buyers agents, and so, we work together. I don't work with buyers at all. The listing team does not work with buyers, but we have such a support system when
Mm.
we take a listing to help us. They're commuting we're available to the client as well, but we also have a team that can support any questions so that we can prospect. And
So
go
I
ahead.
want to ask you, and I would imagine under the guidance of Rachel, and I believe the same, obviously. why do you feel it's important to not work with buyers for you and only focus on the listing side? Because a lot of agents would say, well, it, if you have a client and their house sells and now they want to buy, they would want to work
Mhm.
with you. So why not? Why do you pass them on to a buyer's agent?
So, and like I'm so new and green at this, but from what I can gather, that could, I'm not saying wasting time because a lot of agents like that, but for me, it's not getting right to it. I need structure. I don't want to spend all day driving around showing homes. I want to, I guess, we call go hunting to find the people who need my help. And maybe buyers aren't as ready to make that move, and they could take,
Mhm.
6 months to a year, where expired listings, they just tried to sell their house yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, and I don't know the exact answer, but I don't think I would be a very good buyer's agent.
I love that because you know I agree with that 100%. It's just a distraction. It's like
Yes,
being a jack of all trades, master of none. Master list
right.
and just focus on that. That's amazing. So
Yes.
Roxanne, do you actually enjoy making the calls? You like prospecting?
Rachel and I were talking about this last night, and she said a lot of people are not gonna understand.
Yeah.
I love the phone calls,
And
and
they're
I
like, well,
know
she is weird. No, no, I'm just kidding.
that,
I
right,
love
and
it
so
too.
I love it, and so I every morning I have on my sheet, my job is to find people who need my help and then help them, and so don't I've been scared to death. Rachel didn't give me, the day I got my license, she said, "Get on the phone." And so I just sat in a cubicle and listened to her and listened, um and I still leave my door open so that I can hear her.
Mm.
And yeah, I really enjoy the calls. If I could, I would make calls all day, and I know that's weird, and I would send somebody out to do the listing appointment for me, but that's the part of the job that I like. If you would have asked me that 6 months ago in my previous career, I wouldn't have believed it, but I love the cold calls. I
And
love it.
you worked in marketing, you told me,
I
right?
did work in marketing, yes. So
So
I
you
had a little I have a little advantage
Mhm.
once I if I don't get that listing appointment that day, Jackie, I'm pretty good at being able to market to them, and get
Mhm.
an appointment with them soon.
Yeah. So I say it's weird that you love prospecting. I do too. I just never did anything else. So I learned to love it and you love the results. But most real estate agents really resist this part of
Yeah,
the job. And
right.
so, what would you say to them? Like, how, if somebody's watching, they're like, oh my gosh, she loved making calls. How do I become like that? What would you
Right.
say?
Well, I think it's fair for all of us to agree that it's not comfortable calling people who are upset, especially expireds are upset. And so something they were most likely in a 6-month contract, it didn't sell. The market has turned a little bit nationally, so people are upset. But if you think in your head, okay, I'm disrupting this person's day, I just have to get across that I really am calling to help them, and
Hmm.
then I can so that they feel comfortable talking with me, and
Right.
all they can say is no. And one thing I can tell you is I've had, in my short time in this, people yelling and screaming and using words at me, but they never remember if you call them the next day.
Exactly.
They because I was, "Oh, I'm not calling that person." I'd put a little note. Ooh, but they don't remember you, and I've taken listings from that person who told me off the day before. So it's okay to call them back, and don't take it personal. If they're just upset at the situation, not at me.
Yes, great advice. So I would imagine Phoenix is a very big city. There are
Yes,
a lot of agents calling these expireds, right? You're not the only one calling them,
correct.
which is part of
Yes.
the reason they're upset because the house didn't sell. And now they're getting a lot of calls from real estate agents. Um, what are some of the most common objections you're hearing from expireds right now?
Well, we went through the transition of the market changing. And so people were taking advantage of the market. So they weren't necessarily, we've kind of had to sift through motivated sellers. So that's that. And we had so many expireds at the first 6 months. Now they've settled into what they say is normal the last few months,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same stuff. We're renting, we're taking a break. We're
Okay.
going to sell it ourselves. So it's all the same stuff that you have. I put all of your scripts, everything that from your website, I put into a packet and had it made into like a 3-ring binder at Office Max, and I just flipped through it, and
Exactly.
every objection is right there. You just have to. I'm learning to pivot the way it's presented to me.
It's like you said, it's always the same. It's not like they're giving you new stuff.
Yeah,
So,
right,
how do you have a conversation with sellers about price? Because a year ago, things were very different. The market was different. And especially in Phoenix and Miami, we're a little behind
right,
all of those changes. But for the agents thinking, a lot of agents say, well, expires. They expired because they were overpriced. And they
correct,
probably are thinking they want the price from a year, 2 years ago. That's not going to happen. And this is a
right.
conversation at the appointment. What are some strategies or some things you can offer the agents watching when it comes to pricing, the price conversation with these
Right.
expireds?
So the first thing that we did, because that was such a challenge and an obstacle when we were coming off, the Joneses across the street sold it for 100,000 more than what we should be listing it. And I'm just, using that as an example. But
Yeah.
what we came up with was just a real simple sheet of paper that showed where your appreciation has gone the last 3 years. And even though it's not the same as where it was last spring, it's still incredible the amount of money you've made in the last 2 years. I mean, some places in Phoenix, it's 33% 2 years in a row. So if you share with them, they are still so far ahead of where the normal trend would be, that seems to settle them down.
Wow, that's a great tool and strategy right there. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Roxanne, so your goal 25 listings for the first quarter, and for
That's
the remainder of the year, should I assume it's 100 for the
mm,
year, 25 per quarter?
that's correct. As a new agent,
Wow.
that's my big hairy goal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I joined this arena to be a top agent, and I'm working on everything that I possibly can to get there.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. This is so inspiring. There are agents watching this, brand new agents, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be like her." Well, you got to do what she's doing, right? Everybody
Yes.
wants it. You got to put in the time, which obviously you are, and you have a great model. I mean,
I
Rachel is amazing.
yes.
And you're on her footsteps right there, because 18 listings in 2.5 months as brand new agent is amazing. So thank you for the
Thank you.
inspiration, Roxanne. I
I
really
appreciate how
appreciate it.
much you've done for her, and then she's mentoring me, and you are as well. So we really appreciate you, and thank you so much for
Oh,
inviting me to do this with you.
this is, yeah, thank you. And say hi to Rachel for me, and
I
I'll see
will.
you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Jackie. Bye bye.
Thank you.